with monthly and weekly slots available on Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1, and on irlonestar.com. Start your own podcast, create your first YouTube channel, and be on TV. Contact Lone Star Community Radio online at irlonestar.com or call the station message line at 936-647-3776 to take your first step into the radio world.
Every Friday, tune into Texas Ticket on Conroe's 104.5 and 106.1 FM with Armando Nino of Gold Lake Conroe, focusing on Montgomery County area events and places. Get a feel of the Texas spirit at the event, paired with guest and vendor interviews, event coverage, and ticket giveaways, and so much more. Join us Fridays and punch your Texas ticket. For more information on the show, visit irlonestar.com/Texas Ticket.
Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us on the Cindy Cochran Show. We're so happy to have you, and we feel honored that you took the time to sit with us. And I've been talking about who's going to be on today as Chris Wootton with the Wootton Financial Group, and we're going to talk about things. And I know if you have money, you don't have money, it doesn't matter. You need to talk to someone who is knowledgeable about it. And this guy is just... it's amazing. And as I always say, you know, if Sam likes him, got to be a good guy, because Sam doesn't like anybody. And so it's so nice to have Chris Wootton as our sponsor, and we just appreciate him so much. The other thing is that we I've got to remind everybody that the Christmas parade downtown Conroe will be on December 9th, and it's 1 to 3 p.m. And Richard, aren't you surprised I knew that?
Actually, I'm looking it up just to make sure you're right.
I saw the sign on the way.
Yeah.
She's right.
Yeah.
Good job.
That's what I try to do.
That sign, I've seen that sign every single day. It's just flashing at you. And people wouldn't turn and go under the freeway because they thought, no, that's the 9th.
All right,
What's
looking at it, on December 9th, you got the date right.
Yes.
But from 11 to 4 p.m., they're having a festival in downtown at Heritage Place. And then the parade is supposed to start at 1 p.m.
Yes.
So,
well, I was just giving people the facts. If you want to see the parade, it starts at 1 to 3. It's a 2-hour.
It's not one of the, I think it's at 1, and then once you see the part of that parade, it doesn't come back. So here we go again.
Well, you just run to the other side of the block and watch it pass the other direction. So.
It's such a cozy parade because everybody, you know, it's just like right around there. And, you know, it's not like going downtown Houston and watching the Rockets parade or anything like that. But it's, and they don't have the balloons flying over,
right?
You know,
no floats,
no Snoopy or anything like that. Yeah. So, but they do have floats. I'm sure they have floats,
they have
right?
Floats, Richard, yeah.
To be honest, it's put on by the Kiwanis.
Okay.
And from what I understand, it's just like anyone can join it. So there's no telling how many people are going to be there because it's not like a directed specific organization. Okay. So I imagine a lot of people running for office are going to be there.
Gotcha.
They got to have a Santa.
Yes.
Cindy, do you want to be on a float? Is that what's going on?
I've never been asked to be on a float.
You can ride in the back of my pickup.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Buy some Mylar balloons.
Yeah.
The CVS pharmacy probably will get you a float.
That's just wrong. Wrong on so many levels.
I'm so glad you're here to take off for me.
Or the other float I was saying is you have the trash cans in your trunk. That would be good.
Do you know the trash can story?
I don't.
Okay. Now, see, you brought it up. Now I have to tell you.
This is a real story.
Okay. Our driveway is about 500 feet to get to the street, and the trash needed to go out. So Sam said, "Can you take the trash out?" And I went, Sure. So I opened up the back of the car and put the trash cans in, and I got back in the car and start to the show, and I never stopped and put the trash cans out. So the back of the car has these two trash cans.
She pulls up to the studio with
And-
2 trash cans in the back.
Oh my God.
And I just realized I certainly now I have a measurement of what my memory is. It's 500 feet. That's
500
it.
feet.
And that's it. That's all I got. So I pulled up and right in front of and have to sit there and go like, I left the trash cans in there, and no wonder people were waving at me and going, you know, and you stupid, what are you doing? You got
the
trash cans
in
coming.
your car.
You forgot to empty them.
That's pretty
so,
funny.
Yeah. So anyway, I should have never told. I could have just pulled up, and they had never seen the trash cans, and but it was so funny to me. Yeah. And apparently, it was like, that's so dumb that you would do something like that. How could you do that? It was easy. So,
But I bet you remembered to put them out when you went back, right?
yes. See, and it wasn't. And he was thinking in his mind. He's thinking those big ones that flap up. You know, the big ones
Yeah.
that you have. And no, they were like the 36 or something.
Yeah, the
gallon.
little round ones, yeah.
And 2 of them fit in the back there. And anyway, so that's the trash can story.
Nice.
And we have to, once he makes that statement, then I have to explain to people what's going on. But we have Chris Wootton with us, and he is the CEO of the Wootton Financial Group, and you're the big dog, right? And I talk about how you want to have, if people want to have a meeting with you, they can call up and meet with you, right?
Sure.
Okay.
You can go to wootonfinancial.com. You can book a meeting online. You can shoot us an email at info@woottonfinancial.com. It's WOOTTON financial.com. Or you can call the office, 936-449-5952. And yeah, happy to help people any way we can. So.
And you call it your kicking the tire thing, so that you can
Sure.
figure out, because if you're going to put your money in someone else's hands, that's a real trust, and they need to know and feel like they can trust you. And I talked about the fact you've been over 21 years you've been doing this, and so if you had been doing thing wrong, you probably wouldn't be in the same building that you are in now, and they can find you easily. So
the firm has actually been around over 30 years. I have been with it a little over half of that.
yeah.
So yeah, we've
Chris-
been around a long time. We've got 3rd and 4th generation clients, which, you know, that speaks a lot to when you have multi-generational clients. I mean, you know, something's going right.
Yes. And once you find out that this person is only doing this out of, you know, the goodness of his heart, not all the goodness of heart, but he's doing this because he knows he feels like what's best for you and your finance, and everybody's different. And he takes you as an individual. That's what I love, is that you see everybody that walks in not the same way. It's going to be, they've got an individual backstory.
It's unique. Every situation is unique for sure. And I need to, in fairness of full disclosure, to warn you guys. So I've been trying to do this intermittent fasting thing, and I haven't eaten since about 6 o'clock yesterday. And so my blood sugar is probably really low. So if I pass out in the middle of the radio program, you know, you'll know what it is. Because when I leave here, I'm going to go hit someplace, and I'm going to town. It's gonna be
Extra flaming hot Cheetos.
That's probably not a good fast breaker, Richard.
I have no idea. I was like, now I'm getting worried. I'm like, what do we have?
And what's bad yesterday?
He looks like he's about to nod off. What's wrong with him?
You should check out Bar ABQ in Montgomery.
What is that?
I don't know if it's open now, but
You're going to get him so hungry
Bar
now.
A?
yeah, it's BAR-A-BBQ.
Really?
And it was really good. It was in downtown Montgomery, and it was everything. They have a tallow chocolate chip cookie, and it was really good. And
now I'm getting hungry. We should move on before I
So
start
you're-
salivating all over the table.
No, I think the intermittent fasting is fascinating because it seems like it's such an easy thing to do, and you have to really get acclimated to it, don't you?
Well, I think, everybody's a little bit different the way their body responds to things, I've done it before, and it works really well. The problem I have is that, it's like anything else during your feeding hours, right? So I do what's called a 16-8. So I don't eat for 16 hours. And then during the 8 hours is when you eat, okay?
Yeah.
And the problem I run into is you still have to stay within your caloric range during the 8 hours. So I'm so famished by the time I'm ready to eat, I'm just plowing everything,
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's probably
I
not
do
doing
this
you
on
much
accident.
good.
I don't even time it. I'm just like, I haven't eaten in like 20 hours. I'm starving.
I'm starving. Anyways, we'll see where it goes.
So when
It's such a great time of year to try to do that.
Yeah.
Right during the holidays when
sure.
all the good, yummy food is around, and
Last time I ate was Chicken Max yesterday.
Chicken Max. Have you
So I haven't
eaten
tried that yet.
Yeah, it's really good, and Richard loves it. And we had the manager on, the guy who's a developer for it as well. He came on, and we talked to him, and he had one of his guys, bring us food in here, and it was amazing. So I'm sorry you weren't here on the day that I have to feed him. He has to be fed
Once a week.
once a week. He gets food. That's all I
part
can
of the
afford.
deal,
Yeah,
huh?
that's right. And he's in a really good mood, and he's just so happy and all that. That's just how I am.
I haven't eaten. I'm starving too. I'm with you, Chris. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Oh, you
'Cause
know,
I have to work till 11 tonight, so I got to figure out when I'm going to. So I got to
You should
figure
go
it
get him
out.
something and bring it back. Sometime.
No, I'll be fine.
Did you say I should go get him some, or
Yeah.
me should go get him something?
Yeah.
Me, I should go get him
Get
something.
him something, bring it back. Bring it in a trash
I won't
can.
be here.
He is.
Yeah, bring whatever leftovers you got in that trash can.
You got to be nicer to me. If I do it,
I just know what I love about that story is, at our old studio we had those big windows.
Yeah.
And so she always would be like rushing in because she's late. And I'm like, are those trash cans in the back of her car? And she's like, I don't want to talk about it. I got to get on the air.
No, I'll tell the story on the air. What happened, because I think that in that you've been downtown Conroe, right? You know how big the curbs are.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many front ends of different cars that we've had that I've met that curb.
Well, that was a pastime. We used to watch people just do it. It was like, that guy just hit his.
And this guy's, I every time, and then trying to step up on that curb, it was
Yeah.
really good. Or
Well,
step down from
That's
it.
actually why I put a 4-inch lift on my truck so I wouldn't hit the curbs in downtown Conroe. I'm just playing.
That's if you're going to drive downtown Conroe, that's where they hooked up the horses or something? Is that why they're so tall?
I don't know.
I think that's what it is. I think
That's from what I understood, that's what it was.
Yeah,
for the drain, it's for drainage and for that. Like that's what they did. So
Man,
So it was easier to get off the wagon.
I mean,
Just
there's no
guessing.
explanation because it's only certain blocks. It's like
Right.
2 blocks that are that high, and everything else is real low.
yeah,
I don't get it. And I will tell you, Cindy.
Yes.
No matter what age you are, when you fall on those curbs, it's still funny. I've learned
Did
that.
you fall? Did you fall?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
Yeah,
I bet that was
We've had people fall and they can't get up, and I'm like, I'm laughing. You see me and like, oh my god, that guy just fell. Oh, he probably can't get
I'd
up.
probably be one of those guys. So,
I- No, they just leave me out there. They just they turn the camera toward it.
Instead of
She's
going
still
out and
there.
helping you, they're
Yeah,
filming
She's
it.
still
Yeah.
there. She's okay.
That's pretty much modern day society.
Yeah.
Yes, that's what's going
Someone's
on.
in trouble, let's film them instead of actually helping them. So.
Well, Chris, you've been so patient and so sweet in being able to, this kind of conversation that we have going on. But this is what we do on our Ask Me Anything thing. It's just we say that, we call it that, and then people will comment, and Richard's supposed to be keeping up with their comments so that he'll say, Cindy, somebody wants to know da-da-da-da-da, and in all my great knowledge, I'll tell them. I just say that I've been here 75 years, and I've got a lot of experience to try and back me up on things that I say, whether they're true or not. But he's always checking and fact-checking me, and so that anything I say, we don't want our listeners to have anything that's not maybe true or not. But my perception is my reality, and that's really what I should call the show. My perception is my reality. But you're here because you're so knowledgeable about finances, and we're coming up on the new year, and everybody tries to do some kind of resolution. Weight being number one, so we've done that. Now we know intermittent. What's it called? Intermittent
Fasting.
Fasting. I can't think of the word fasting.
Or in my case, buffet.
Buffet. Oh. So
I don't know.
So we'll talk at the end of the show. We'll talk about where you think you might go to go crazy, just to have fun, to go
someplace close. 'Cause
Yeah,
I'm hungry.
just right across the street, just right down the street.
I don't know,
There's
Red
some-
Brick Tavern somewhere.
Yes, that's right. Or the brewery. Or no,
Something.
what's that place called? That
Pacific Yard House.
Pacific Yard House. Have you ever been there?
Or as my daughter would say, Specific Yard House.
Pacific.
Specific. What?
That-
Pacific.
I still say that. No, I know
Specific.
Pacific. But have you ever been there?
I have.
Their food is good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. They won't bring us any food, though. The guy came over here, and we interviewed him and trying to think, if you just bring us food, we'd talk about you all the time. But he came over, and, some people have got a personality for radio, and then some people just don't. And so... and I love to talk, and I'll tell my stories. If you don't talk, then we're gonna do a solo show here. And so he didn't have a lot to say, but his food, everybody says the food is just amazing over there. So
Yeah, the food's good.
yeah, so we were trying to get him excited about it, but he just would go like, "Yeah, we got that. Yeah, we do that. Yeah, okay." I'm like, "Okay, this is a great interview." Moving right along. No, but he was a nice guy. Anyway, okay, so we're going to talk about financial, maybe some resolutions about starting the new year, and what's a good way to get started correctly. Now money's scary to most people right now, so.
Well, we all do it, right?
Yeah.
New Year's resolutions, and I
And it
think
lasts how long?
Most of them last 30, 60, 90 days at the outset, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it can be a lot of things: fitness, diet, finance. You can apply it to almost anything. What I would tell your listeners is, if they want, if they will contact my office, I've got an article that I wrote called the 30-Day Challenge. Okay. And the 30-Day Challenge, I meant to bring a copy of it with me, and I walked out of the office and left it on the printer. But
Is it on the?
there may be a copy on the website.
No, Cindy. No.
You can find it.
She wants me to find it.
And
Well, the 30-Day Challenge is, I won't spoil it all, but it's basically, the article talks about, for instance, step one is really the most important step. Okay. And in any resolution, whether it's finance, fitness, whatever you want to apply it to, it's just, you got to get started. Right. And so I list 5 steps or 5 things to go do from a financial perspective, to just get moving forward, and how you were able to keep moving forward. Okay. So for example, a lot of people will set a goal of some type, right? So they'll say, I want to save $10,000, or I want to pay off this debt, or I want to lose 50 pounds. Okay. Well, that's all fine, well, and good. But if you don't write the goal down, set a date to accomplish it, and then define how you're going to go do that, all you're doing is wishing. You haven't really set a goal. You're just wishing that you could do A, B, or C, right?
Yes.
So it's just a good article that kind of lays out the 30-day challenge, figure out where you are, get started, right? Formulate a plan, execute the plan, reevaluate. I'm paraphrasing. It's a little put together verbally, written rather, a little better than that. But with the 30-day challenge, if they want, just call the office. I'll email you a copy of it, PDF copy of it.
Oh, that's perfect.
And, let us know. And we're happy to send that out. So,
Okay. That's great. And if I put an air tag on it, Isn't that the
I
correct?
don't know what that is.
Isn't an air tag? Isn't that what I'm talking about? Is an air
AirTag?
tag?
The physical tag, like
No.
that physical button-looking thing.
No, the air tag that you use to find your purse, to find your
it's
phone.
a physical. It's a physical little
Okay.
tab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And get that and make sure I know where it is.
Okay.
Whenever I go, like, okay, I got to, wait a minute, it's been a while since I got to get that. I got to find that. That's what I would need. I'd need the air tag. I want to put, where do you get an air tag? I'm sorry. I don't want to.
It's from Apple. Apple makes them. There's
so you go-
there's other companies like called Tile and things, but the AirTag name is for Apple. So you just go to Apple Store in the Woodlands or something.
And you can order an air tag
Yeah.
and they send it to
And
you.
they
I
pair
can-
it with your phone or pair it with your account, and you can look it up anywhere.
and then I know where everything is all the time.
Well, if you put the tag on it,
Yeah, see, I can put it on the trash cans, and but see, first you have to put the tag on. So that's the thing. Yeah.
Well, the 30-day challenge deal, Cindy, really started around budgeting. Okay, which it's the B word. Everybody hates the B word.
That's right.
Because what I challenge people to do is track every dime you spend for 30 days.
Wow.
Okay. And if you do that, number one, you're going to be really surprised, really amazed at where your money actually goes. But it's a good exercise because in a digital age, it's very easy to just money in, money out. And you're not paying attention to how much you're spending and where it's going and what you're blowing versus what you could be saving, those kind of things. But if you track every dime for 30 days, possibly even 60 days, right? You're going to have a really good idea of where maybe some of the financial flaws are that you could adjust to then go accomplish goals that you may have, savings goals, whatever the case is. Because it's very easy to just get into the groove of daily living, and the paycheck comes into the account, and before you know it, the end of the month is here. There's no money left,
Right.
and you have no idea where it went for the most part.
So if somebody says, I want to save $10,000 because I need that for whatever, and you say, here's how you'll get there. If you save $5 a day or $10 a day for 3 months, then you'll have it. Do you have tables like that? I mean, like, can someone go someplace and find a table?
I mean, they probably could online somewhere. I mean, it's not a difficult calculation, right? I mean, you have to kind of assume, am I earning any interest? Right. So, I mean, if you're just saving $100 a week,
Right.
at the end of a 4-week month, you're going to have $400. Multiply that times 12, and you've saved $4,800. Okay. I mean, it's just,
You're looking at me like, I don't know.
well, it's just kind of simple math, right?
Right.
But then if you go and add it and you say, well, I want to save $100 a week and I'm earning 3% on that money, right? That's a little bit of a calculation where, there's calculators online you can find where you can plug that in and it'll tell you exactly how much you would have earned by the end of the year in not only your principal deposits, but also the interest you've earned on it. Okay?
So would you advise that person to find a bank or some institution that is paying a certain percentage to get you faster to your goal?
Yeah, I mean, I always believe that you should try to keep your money at work to some degree. The problem is that to do that with most banks, they're going to require you to tie the funds up for an extended period of time. Okay.
Is it about a year? Is it a
It just depends. I mean,
I don't know if there's a standard.
whatever the CD may be,
Okay.
Now you may be able to do like a money market savings account or something along those lines.
But and isn't that better because you're not touching it? It's too easy to know I'm trying to save 10,000. I've got 3,000.
Well, it depends on kind of how you're structured, right? I mean, do you have an emergency fund set aside, right? I mean, that's maybe a starting point. If I don't have a liquid emergency fund set aside, I wouldn't want to take money and tie it up for a long period of time because I may need to get to it if an emergency comes up, and I don't want to be penalized to do so. Okay, like
Right.
you would with a CD or whatever. So it just kind of depends on what the goal is and where they are in the process as to what they would need to do with that. But I mean, the biggest thing in terms of tying it to the new year, right? The resolution aspect of it is just get started. I mean, the biggest problem with most people is they talk about doing things and never do them.
Amen, brother. Yes.
So, you know, the first step is the biggest step. And honestly, for most people, it's the hardest step. Right? Because for a lot of people, maybe they don't have the self-confidence or whatever it may be that they can do a thing, right? Well, here's the problem with that mindset. If you never try, you don't know, right? And a lot of times, if you'll just determine, right, self-will, I determine that I'm going to take this step and I'm going to start going down this road. And if I have to learn, if I have to study, if I have to discover new things, whatever, I'm going to do it, right? And just keep that moving forward. That first step is really, you know, the biggest aspect of it.
Well, I guess because of our, you know, the money we have to spend on groceries, gas, and everything else, and we kind of feel like we don't know where we're going on that, you know, because it feels like we're totally out of control on what we go in and what we're going to have to spend to get the same things we got last year or 2 years before. But it's so frustrating for these people that come in there and living paycheck to paycheck, and then credit card debt going crazy and all, to say, I'm going to try and save something. You know, I need every penny I have.
Well, again, that kind of goes back to a person's situation with where they are, right? I mean, I'll go back to a familiar name, the whole Dave Ramsey method, right? If you have credit card debt that you're paying 25% interest on, right? Yes, I think having an emergency fund is important, but in large measure, it's kind of moot point if you're paying 25% interest and you're still charging on your credit cards. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I do think it's important to try to set aside funds for an emergency fund, but quite frankly, if you're barely scraping by making minimum payments on your credit cards and possibly even still using them, you got bigger problems, right? I mean, because if you have an emergency, you're just going to do what you're already doing, which is putting it on your credit card. Okay?
So people, families, you, I'm sure you see this, that they're trying so hard to find out what they can absolutely do without and do what we have to have, and so that we can start eliminating this.
Well, but what I have found over the years, okay, is that when the pain of what you're going through gets bad enough, you'll figure out a way to solve the problem. Okay? The problem with most people is have I ever told you the hound dog and the hound dog story? No, I never told you that.
I don't think so.
So there's a story about a guy that he would walk in front of a house on his way home from work every day, and there would be this old farmer sitting out on the front porch, and he had a hound dog that was sitting on the porch beside him. And every day when he would walk by this house, the hound dog is just, just yelling out in pain, right? And so this happened for about a week, the guy walking by every day, the same thing. So finally one day he stops and he asks the farmer, he says, "Man, what is wrong with your dog?" And he said, "He's just laying on a nail." And he said, "Well, why doesn't he get up and move off of it?" And he said, "I guess it doesn't hurt bad enough yet."
Oh, that's perfect.
Right? So you get the principle of a lot of people are experiencing some level of pain, but for most of them, mainly because we've got it so good in our country, right?
Yes.
Okay. The pain hasn't hit the point where they're willing to do whatever it takes to make it happen, to solve the problems. Okay. Now, it would be better for you if, number one, you don't get in a position where that's the case. Right? Meaning give yourself some financial knowledge, teach yourself ahead of time, get prepared, make a plan, however you want to lay it out there, and don't create the problems that ultimately cause the pain. That would be the smarter way to do it. But if you're already there, you're just going to have to tighten the belt and suck it up, realize you made some mistakes, but mistakes are great because you get to learn from them. And if they're bad enough, you never have to experience them again because you learn them well. and do what it takes to just solve the problem. That could mean you got to take a second job. It could mean you might have to sell assets to pay off debt. I mean, things that are very unpleasant to think about.
True.
Okay? But it
that's
happens.
Very true.
It happens.
Well, it's difficult, though, to look at and see and hear these college students who have been, been promised that we're going to pay off their debt.
Yeah.
The taxpayers will pay off your debt, and you deserve it. Boy, you deserve. I don't get that. I never went to college to where I didn't cause any debt for that, and so I don't understand, a lot of that. I know it's hanging over their head, and they think it's like a credit card. And I've had certainly credit card debt though, and it's hanging over your head, and you feel like there's no way out because I'm not making enough to pay the payment they've got, and it's very confusing. And so if somebody comes along and says, I'm paying for all of your debt, I'm taking this away from you, you'll never have to worry about this again, and go on with your life. A lot of the kids, when they start hearing this is what I heard from college students. Man, I'm going to go out, I'm getting me a car, I'm going to put money down on a car, and all they're doing is creating a debt outside of educational, realm. This was for something else.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, I am totally against college debt payoff in any form. Okay, meaning at the government level. It just is a inequality issue in my mind. And here's the thing: the problem of student loan debt was created by colleges and the U.S. government. Okay.
Yes.
Plain and simple.
Yes.
So on one hand, you could say, well, we created this problem, so we want to help you get out of it. Okay, but with whose money?
Right.
You're getting out of it with taxpayer dollars.
Right.
And there are some people that say, oh, no, it's coming out of this fund or that fund. Anything coming from the government in the form of money came from you,
right,
the taxpayer.
Right.
The fact that they like to change the terms and the words to make it sound, more palatable or what have you is just hogwash. Okay. So, I'm against student loan payoff, and that's only because I took 6 years to get my undergrad degree because I worked full time and I came out of college with no debt.
Wow.
And I've done just fine. Okay. Now, I didn't go to an Ivy League school.
Right.
I'm a U of H grad, University of Houston, right here, go Cougs.
Good.
Okay.
Yes.
My son graduates next weekend from the University of Houston, no debt.
No debt.
And he's already got a job offer with one of the big four accounting firms, and he's going to be doing just fine. You do not need to go put yourself in the hole. The problem we've run into with this, and I know this is off topic from what all we were going to discuss, but the problem with this is that college education, rather than being about learning, expanding horizons, what it used to be about, has become commoditized. And when it became commoditized, it's just like any other commodity, right? You end up getting into rising cost for the education. The education becomes more about a certificate to get you a job than it does about truly learning anything. So we got people graduating with a PhD in basket weaving and expecting to go out and get a six-figure job to pay off their $500,000 student loan. What are we talking about? I mean, that shows a level of lack of financial intelligence that is unfathomable, okay? And yet it's very common in our society. Financial intelligence should start in the home, parents with their kids. The problem is most parents don't have it.
We don't have it either, yeah.
And you're certainly not getting any of it in the public education system.
No,
okay,
not at all.
You're lucky if they get a life skills class that teaches them how to balance a checkbook or, a bank account or whatever, much less teaching them about, some of the maybe more advanced things, how interest works when you buy something on loan, right? Those types of things. So it's no wonder that people walk into these kind of financial traps headlong, because they've bought into the lie.
Well, we're seeing right now all the protesting and all the stuff that's going on in these Ivy League schools, and we're wondering, what are you teaching them? What is the goal that you have for these students that are out here, and do they not have classes they need to be going to? Why are they filling the streets and waving a flag that they don't understand? Really, you can tell they don't understand everything's the background of what's going on, and these are college students. So you wonder, is it really? You know, are we supposed to be funding? And we give them a tax break on everything that they do, and maybe they shouldn't have that. Maybe the colleges need to do.
Yeah, I mean, this is just my opinion, obviously. If you're an institution that has nonprofit status, okay, and basically the core of leadership in your institution, teaching leadership otherwise, is basically teaching hate America, America's evil, being that your institution is in the very country providing you the six-figure tenured salary you're getting, and you wouldn't have made it that way otherwise anywhere else in the world.
Right.
It's really rich that you're teaching your student population how evil we are, how evil capitalism is, whatever. Hate the Jews, evil Jews, whatever it is. And look, there is we know for a fact, there is a concerted effort on these campuses of these people teaching this garbage to young people, right? Impressionable minds. And to me, if you're a nonprofit status organization, getting government funds, whatever, it needs to be cut.
Exactly.
You're not, and the reason why is that it's not doing anything to further the advancement of education for the U.S. economy, for the U.S. Citizen.
Well, you're not going to get their attention unless something like that happens, because they're not hurting at all.
Yeah.
They just go like, we let everybody speak their mind. We want everybody to say whatever they want to say.
There's nothing wrong with letting people speak their mind,
as long as everybody
unless you're yelling death to the Jews, for crying out loud. I mean, that's not free speech. Is free speech. You have the right to it, but you also have the right to the consequences of your free speech.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's the problem, is we don't have the consequences that are necessary. So
that is so
people have
true.
lost their backbone in our day and time, which is unfortunate because they're so afraid of offending someone.
Yeah.
And sometimes, you and I both know, if you speak the truth in society, you are going to offend someone.
Well, of course.
Okay, because nobody likes to be told the truth.
No.
So.
And Richard practices that every day, like.
What, trying to be offensive or telling the truth? Is that
both? Well, his truth is very offensive because I never get a chance to explain his truth away about what he is actually saying. And so he's got the mic, and he can turn me off anytime he wants to.
It's true.
And,
true.
So you do have that. It's really nice, though. You do let us speak mostly what we feel, and I appreciate you letting me vent that, and I try to do it as. But his sign for me is like this: if I start talking too political or too religious and stuff like that, you're walking the fence.
Is that the tone it down sign?
Yeah. You're just about to fall over, and I'm going to have to cut you off. And
well, you can probably tell by the way I talk.
We could go to town on this.
I don't worry a whole lot about offense anymore. I'm at an age where it's like, you either like me or you don't, right?
Oh, no,
now, I don't set out to offend anybody on purpose, okay? But here's the thing. Being offended is a choice.
Right, true. Yeah,
if you're offended, it's because you chose to be offended.
That's right.
I've had people say some really nasty things to me over the years.
Yeah.
I don't hold it against them. That's their opinion, and they have the right to be wrong.
I'm not allowed to judge. Yeah. God said, I'm going to judge you the same way you judge somebody else. That hit me right between the eyes. I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. And I don't want, so I don't have any right to do that. Yeah. If somebody's doing something that's harmful to them or harmful to my children or something like that, I've got the right to judge the fact that you're about to hurt and you're not going to be able to do that. But the what somebody says, that their feelings about something and the way they look at, the administration or whatever, is their, that's how they see it. And I can't judge you and make fun of you or get mad at you or whatever, because God said don't do that, because I'm watching.
Right.
And you just love these people, try and help people.
Absolutely.
Try and, someone who's trying to do the best they can, don't bring them down. And no unwholesome talk come out of your mouth.
Yeah.
That was really hard.
You try to be an encourager.
Yes.
Right? But part of encouraging, you don't want to shine people on, okay? I mean, it's not encouraging to blow smoke and lie to somebody to make them feel better. Okay?
Right.
If you really love them, just like with our kids, sometimes that means having to take the tough stance, right?
Yes.
Because you see that they're headed down a road or in a direction that is ultimately going to be harmful for them. That could be everything from a lifestyle to the choice in what they eat to, name it, right?
Right.
It can be applied to anything. And so, it's very difficult.
Well, I know Sam will, because we have our grandchildren with us, he'll say, I need to get them to understand that if they do this, this is what's going to, happen. Yeah. And I said, well, sometimes they got to find out. They need to find that out, and they need to experience how bad that is because you've done that, and then that may be what turns them around. But coming from an older person, that makes them feel like it's a new day, it's a new age.
Right.
You don't understand what we're going through. And Sam's saying it's all the same. Like there's no new sin under the sun. No, this stuff goes around and around and around. And
it takes on a little bit of a different facet or a face.
The technology and all that. And
but the problems are the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And outcomes to making the wrong choice. That's what everybody's got to deal with.
It doesn't matter if you were born in the 1900s, early 1900s, 1950s, 1980s, early 2000s. Guess what? If you drink a lot, you're going to die of cirrhosis of the liver. It's really simple. Okay?
Right.
Maybe.
The only.
Hey now.
Well, Richard, you haven't lived long enough
yet. A tree might fall on me.
Just give it time. Man.
Yeah.
Now look. The drugs have gotten harder and worse, and so forth. But even more so,
right.
It's the underlying principles, right? And that's why, in my belief as a Christian, the Bible has stood the test of time because the principles that undergird it, okay, are timeless.
Sure.
They're timeless. It doesn't matter what age you're living in. You can apply them to your life, and it will improve your life. Okay.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean you have to be perfect. I'm not perfect.
No.
Right?
And all through the Bible, it talks about the people that are not perfect and who was chosen to be, the preacher. It was not chosen because their background was perfect.
Sure.
It was cool. You really have to understand that you're not out of the game because you feel like you've had such a bad past.
Right.
This can be corrected.
Yeah. Well, that's purely looking at things from a principles and morals perspective, right? Obviously, our belief goes much deeper than that in terms of recognizing the Savior and so forth. But my point is, it has really good principles to live by that if you believe, like I do, that God gave those to us so that we could live a better life.
Right.
Not an easy or a perfect life, but a better life. Okay. You can apply that to a lot of things. Even one of the things you wanted to talk about what was it? Fear.
Fear.
Right.
Yes.
So, there's a lot of uncertainty with the economy, with the wars going on around the world, so on and so forth. How do you go about quelling fear? Well, a lot of it is how you approach fear, right? Some people deal with fear by burying it under substances. Mm-hmm. Okay, drugs, alcohol, whatever.
But they're still there when you come.
That's right.
to.
When the fog wears off, the fears are still there and the problems are still there.
And
right?
and throughout the Bible, they in sermons and stuff you go to, and they'll pick out a lot of the statements that are talking about don't be afraid. God doesn't want you to be timid. God wants you to be, to be strong. And he's giving you so many of these, like, if you'll just listen to me, like Sam says to his kid, just listen to me. And
well, I think it goes a little deeper than that, at least from the perspective of a believer. Okay, I mean, so maybe let's take a step back, right? How do you define fear? What is fear? How would you? And don't pull it up on the internet, Richard. What is just Webster's definition of fear?
I have no idea.
Okay, so it's basically just the threat of some type of harm or pain.
Right.
That's at the root of it. That's basically what it is. It can be emotional, physical, psychological, whatever, but it's that. Okay. So if we know that it is the threat of those things, then you have to ask, well, what causes those kind of threats? What causes the fear? And that can be a lot of different things.
Well, and
right?
and to you, it's like the people that you deal with, it's the fear of not having enough money to for them to survive.
Absolutely.
And so that fear is
the
devastating.
number one retirement fear. Okay, on almost every single poll that or survey rather that they do, and I say they, meaning financial publications and so forth, is the fear of outliving your retirement savings. Okay?
Right.
Usually right behind it is fears revolving around investment loss, okay, which ties right into the first one. And fears of massive changes to pension programs like Social Security, that sort of thing. Okay?
Right.
But if you look at the underlying causes of those fears, it's normally a combination of things. I mean, it can be a lot of different things, right? But it's generally a lack of knowledge.
Right.
Okay, because we as human beings tend to hate the unknown. We don't like what we don't understand, okay? And so we fear it.
That's right.
It could be uncertainty because human beings love certainty. They don't like the anxiety of not knowing how something's going to turn out. Maybe it's a lack of preparedness. That's where financial planning comes into play. And not just in the finance world. I mean, you could apply this to anything that you fear in life.
Right.
Being prepared and knowledgeable helps you overcome fear, okay? Because if you know how to deal with it, you don't fear it as much, right?
Exactly. And
it's like going into the woods without where there's big bears, okay, without bear spray or without a very large firearm versus having the bear spray or having the firearm.
And that's where you, as a financial planner, can take these people and talk to them and let them tell you their fears and let you explain. You've seen most of these same type of fears, same type of conversations that you have with people, and we can get through this. And here's how we're going to do it. And you have to help me as much as I can help you. And you have that kind of, that kind of personality, that kind of, when people come in and somebody walks in a room and you can either not like them or make them feel like they've sucked all the oxygen out of the room or whatever, but that we feel that. So whenever you have these meetings with these people, this is what you find out. And it's not, you're not paying for that meeting. That meeting is just so that because this is important.
Yeah, I mean, the first two meetings with us are complimentary. I mean, the first meeting is kind of kicking the tires, gathering data. You're figuring out if personalities mesh, or is this really somebody that I would want to do business with, And look, that's part of building trust, and it takes time, for some people to figure out where that is. The second meeting, they come back in. We've typically done about 80% of their financial planning work already by the time you come in, and we give you essentially the results of what we found. This is what I see you're doing right. These are where I see you have some problems, and this is how we believe we can help, and full transparency and cost, what that costs to you, whatever. But those two meetings don't cost you a dime. Okay.
See, that's
so
good.
We've done that for over 20 years. We know that not everybody is going to become a client, and that's okay. But what you do know is that when you leave that second meeting, Even if you choose to go down the street and do business with someone else, you're going to know the right questions to ask.
Right.
Okay?
That's exactly right.
Meaning, just where we were talking about fear, you're going to have more preparedness so that when you walk into the next guy's office, you don't have the uncertainty that you had.
Right.
You don't have the fear and anxiety that you had because you already have a decent working foundation for the right questions
And you
to
have
ask.
the armor of skill, of knowledge that causes you to be much more, confident about talking
Now,
about it.
one other cause of fear that I'll mention, and this is going to tie back to the spiritual aspect we were talking about, is a lack of trust. So for the believer, right, don't fear is a command. It's not a suggestion.
Right.
Right? We're commanded not to fear because when you fear, it shows a lack of trust in the one who has control of all things. Okay?
Sure.
So, that's easier said than done
Yes.
many times because we all go through some pretty tough, times, tough things in life. But for the believer, if you believe he's in control and he's got the wheel, so to speak, to quote the song, lack of trust is a cause of fear. I'm not trusting the one who has said, I got this.
Right.
It's going to be fine. Okay. Now, the outcomes are not always what we expect them or want them to be.
No.
Okay? But if he's in control, then we trust, right, that he's going to take care of it. Now, outside of that, I think another way to approach fear, Cindy, is don't see fear as a negative thing. See it as a good thing. Because if you think about it, fear is what drives us to be better.
That's right.
It drives us to learn how to be prepared, to learn to get knowledge, right, to keep ourselves safe.
But that's exactly why I had you come in. Everything you've said is so good. I've got 2 minutes to close this up because it always goes by too fast. But I want to thank you for coming in. Things that you've said have been really wonderful.
I've enjoyed
it. And I want people just to get to know you, and I think that this has been a good exchange to, they see someone who doesn't know anything. And then, and how you talk to me, you don't make me feel stupid. Like,
well, I hope
but
not.
other than,
I hope not.
no, you're wonderful. And I think that that's going to help people. And I want to say thank you so much. And listen, you guys, we just always have to say thank you to the first responders, the military, all you who are there for someone else and you're helping them, and people that we feel is less fortunate, but actually when we help them, we become more fortunate because it really does help us, in putting a hand out for someone. And thank you for the bravery of the first responders. And be careful, be safe, and have fun at the parade on the 9th from 1 to 3. Something like that. Anyway, just come on downtown. You'll just have a ball. It'll be fun. Okay, everybody, I will see you next week. We're going to have a good time next week. So you just come and be on the not be on the Cindy Cochran Show, but come listen to the Cindy Cochran Show and join us, and we'll bring you people such as Chris. Thank you.
Cindy, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Oh, goodness, that's right. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to you, too, and to all of you. But I'll see you again. All right, love you, and you guys be careful. Call somebody you love.
Every week, people ask the same 2 questions. Are they ready to retire? Will their savings last for their lifetimes? Hi, this is Chris Wootton with Wootton Financial Group. Our firm has been in Montgomery County for decades, but the hopes and dreams of the people we serve never change. We help answer these 2 questions and many more that people have about their uncertain financial future. We have a simple introductory client experience that allows us to get to know the client and includes a few meetings for the client to kick the tires at no charge. We provide a concise, 1-page summary that helps the client get a better handle on which questions are the right questions for them. To learn more about Wootton Financial Group's process in helping their clients to a clearer financial future and to see their contact information, visit Cindy Cochran Show page on irlonestar.com/TCCS. Wootton Financial Group is a proud sponsor of the Cindy Cochran Show. Wootton Financial Group is available by phone at 936-449-5952 or visit them on the web at www.woottonfinancial.com. That's www.woottonfinancial.com. www.woottonfinancial.com.
This program is sponsored by the Wootton Financial Group. It is not the intent of Wootton Financial Group to render or offer personalized investment advice or financial planning advice through this radio program or any related website. Wootton Financial Group's participation in this program is limited to providing general information on financial matters and should not be construed as financial recommendation or investment advice. Investment advisory services are offered through Game Plan Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission and the state of Texas. Insurance services are offered through Wootton Financial Group, Inc. Game Plan Advisors and Wootton Financial Group, Inc. are affiliated through common ownership, and neither firm is affiliated with The Cindy Cochran Show. No listener should assume that any information presented and or made available on this program serves as the receipt of or a substitute for personalized individual advice from Game Plan Advisors, Wootton Financial Group, or any of their representatives.